Hello, welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be answering a bunch of questions that you all asked on my Instagram. If you don't already follow me on Instagram, please do that so that you can be featured in the next Q&A, and let's jump right into it. So the first question I'm going to answer today is, what do you like most about mentoring? So if you don't already know, I have a mentorship and an online course, and my favorite part about that whole thing is actually like doing the research and then helping other people. Like those two things combined just make me so happy and bring me so much joy. And it's like connecting and building this community with other creators that I just find so satisfying in an industry where people judge us. It can be a really lonely industry because we're not really working with other people. Like we're all at our house, like doing this online and virtually. And so building that community of people is what kind of like motivates me and drives me. And then also the research aspect of it. If you know anything about me, I'm like a big reader and I love to learn. Like I loved being in school, and because I'm not in school anymore, this kind of feels like a place that I can learn, even though it's kind of like a strange thing to like be learning and researching on. I just love learning new techniques and marketing strategies and literally every aspect of it. Gaining knowledge about this and about how to grow a business is so much fun to me. So those are some like parts of mentoring that I really like. And yeah, two things is like learning and building a community. Next question is, how do you deal with that time of the month and content creation? If you've watched my videos for a while, you know that I batch create content. So I normally only shoot a few days out of the week, and I only have my period for like 4 days if I do have my period. So that means there's 3 other days in that week that I could film content. So really what I do is I track my period and I use the Clue app. I'm not sponsored by them. That's the app that I use. And I've been using it for like years. So it's really, really accurate. And so I always know when I'm going to get my period, and I just literally batch create content ahead of time. That's simply it. And then if someone asks for a custom, I just say, oh yeah, I'll get it done on whatever day. And it could be like 3-4 days later. Like, oh, I'm busy the next couple days, but I'll get your content to you in the next few days. So that's just like a really simple way to go about it. If you do lives or anything like that, I think there's other ways that you can still create content where you're not inserting anything in there. Or, you know, like you could do twerking videos, you could do voyeurism videos, which is basically like you living your life and then like setting up a camera, like if someone was spying on you, like just like kind of watching you do your daily activity. You could do changing videos and do shower videos. There's like so much that you could still do that even if you wanted to create content during that time, like say you didn't get ahead that week and you still need to create content, there's so many ways around just penetration. Like you don't have to do penetration. So hopefully that helps. Okay, next question is, should you do share for share with other creators? On Twitter, I think yes. Not so much as like to post other creators, but I think you should definitely be getting into engagement groups and retweeting each other. That's what engagement groups are. It's just to help each other. Every time you post, you retweet each other, you like do that sort of thing. And so I definitely think it's really important to do that on certain social media platforms like Twitter. But as far as on OF, I think that it can get kind of like spammy if you're just doing that over and over again. In the beginning, it worked really well to gain subs, but now I don't think it really does. I think especially if you're not promoting yourself where it makes sense. So say you're just share for share and like I'm sharing with a girl that's blonde hair, blue eyes, and fake boobs and like not a big butt, like kind of a smaller butt or something like that. Like I'm just trying to describe like the complete opposite of me. If we share each other, like that person's fans are not going to be interested in me and my fans aren't going to be interested in her. So then it just looks like spam on my page. So really what you want to think about if you are going to be doing share for share is like, are this person's fans going to be even interested in you? And are your fans going to be interested in them? Because then it actually is a mutually beneficial share for share or like collaboration. If not, like what's the point? It literally just looks like spam. So just be conscious of that. If you are going to do share for share, I think it's not really the best strategy anymore, like how it used to be. So I would try and just focus on marketing and social media if you are trying to get yourself out there. Next one is most popular types of videos on spicy pages. I got this question actually twice, like what works best for my page and also what just works best. If I'm being completely honest, I personally, just from doing research, think that boy-girl content does best. I don't do boy-girl content. I only do solo content. So like, you know, I just do my research and I look and see what works. And like, that is something that I notice, like if you do boy-girl content, you can reach a way bigger audience because like a lot of people like that type of content. So that's what does well from my research on most pages. But if you don't do that content, like don't worry, you can still make a bunch of money and like be really successful, because I only do solo content. And I know a lot of girls that only do solo content. So it's not like you have to do that, but that's just a simple answer. And then as far as like what does well on my page, it depends. It's like everyone's page is going to be different. Everyone's niche is going to be different. And so, you know, what could be doing well for me might not do well for you, or vice versa. And if you're going down a certain niche, then obviously that niche is going to do well for you if you market it the right way and you find the right people that are interested in that. So there's not like one thing, you know, you got to do this because this is the thing that does well on OnlyFans, because this is the thing that does well on like spicy pages. Like there's not one simple thing, like one simple answer to that. Like people are interested in different things. I would recommend just trying a lot of different things, feeling everything out and seeing what is comfortable for you and also what your specific fans like. So basically there's not one thing that's like, oh, this is the most popular thing to do. I mean, I'm sure there is, but it's just not a simple answer like that. I'm sure, honestly, if you go to like Pornhub and see what's most popular, that type of porn would do well on a spicy page as well. And then that would probably be something that's the most popular, or like, you know what I mean? Like just do your research. Hopefully that makes sense. Next question, how to target different audiences. Now, I think it's actually really important to think about your brand and think about 3 different things that you can do that you can kind of like niche yourself into. Let's say you do anime, you also target people that are interested in girl next door because you're very sweet and that. And then you also do like booty insertions, if you know what I mean. I don't want to say the actual word. Okay. So those are your like 3 like categories, right? And then you need to find people within those categories. Like where are those people hanging out on the internet? I would say probably Reddit for the last thing that I said. You can probably find Reddit forums that are specific to that type of content. And then you know, like the fans are going to that Reddit forum or like subreddit. That's what it's called. So that would be a good place to find those people. And then say like for the girl next door type of content, maybe they're on TikTok. There's a lot of like sweet, innocent type of things there. And then say for anime, maybe there's like a group on Twitter that just does really, really good. Twitter or X now. I'm trying to get in the habit of saying X instead of Twitter, but it's just like, well, what is X, you know? But I'll say them, yeah. So then you would go and find those people and start posting in those forums, start posting under those hashtags, and that's how you're gonna find the right people for the content that you're creating. And also there's tons of other places on the internet too. Like don't just limit yourself to like the most popular social media sites that I talk about. Like really explore and expand, because there's other places that these people hang out in. There's other, like Chatterbait is a place where people, you know, can find this type of content, and there's tons of websites. So what I really recommend is exploring the internet and then finding where those pockets of people hang out and try and get their attention there. And like I said, I do think that's important to have like 3 main categories so that you can try different things but still fall within a brand, because I think it's really important to have a brand for yourself. So think of 3 different subcategories of yourself. That way you're not spreading yourself too thin, but you can kind of target different types of people and try different things. Next question is, do you want to be a sex worker forever? Yes and no. It's not something I think about really. I personally think that you can do this job at any point in your life. Like there's gonna be somebody attracted to you, whether you're 25 or 75, honestly. I have had students that are like 65, and I've talked to a lot of people that are of all different ages and trying this. So there's not like a cutoff to when you have to stop doing this or anything like that. And, you know, it's not to say that I do or don't want to do this forever. I'm a human and I change, and every 4 years, I feel like I'm a completely new person. So maybe in 4 years or 8 years or whenever, I'm gonna be like, yeah, I'm over it now, and I'll start doing something different. But for now, I'm happy with what I'm doing and I'm enjoying it. And I love like the community that I've built through this. But yeah, I have different business ventures as well. So it's not even to say that I don't even feel locked into this work. Like, I feel like I have so many different things that I can do, and I don't feel like I'm tied to it. I feel like I'm doing it because I want to. So that's a really comfortable place to be, and I like what I'm doing, and yeah, we'll just see what happens, honestly. Like, if I'm being super honest, I don't think I'll be doing this forever. I really don't. But I'll be doing it until I feel like I don't want to do it anymore. That's why it's super important to make sure you're not putting all your eggs in one basket. You want to make sure you have skills that you can use in the future if you wanted to do something else. You need to make sure you're constantly learning, venturing out into different business ventures. You are making sure you have really solid social media platforms so that you can make money there as well. Like, these are the things that you want to think about, because you don't know who you're going to be in 4 to 10 years. Like, you don't know what makes you happy at that point. So you want to prepare to have options for yourself. And I think that's really something to think about when you get into this too. Okay, most annoying part about being an S worker. I really love my work. So it's hard to say like the most annoying part. I love talking to my fans. I like creating content. I guess the most annoying part is like feeling like you're always on like this, what is it called? Like the rat race type of thing. Like, you're always doing more, like it kind of never ends. And you kind of sometimes feel like you can't take a break, even though you totally can. Honestly, you can, prepare and take enough content so that you can take breaks. And that's what I've learned. And that's why I kind of don't feel like there's like a bad part of it. Like, I love everything that I'm doing. And if I didn't, I wouldn't do it. But yeah, I think the most annoying part was feeling like I couldn't take a break at certain points, or when I like don't have as much inspiration sometimes, and I'm like, oh, well, I have to make content, like I have to do this. And that's not just to say on like my spicy accounts, but even like on social media and stuff. Sometimes it's like, oh my God, what do I do next? What do I do? And like that feeling of like I have to put something out isn't a really good feeling. But I say that only happens every once in a while when I just feel maybe a little bit burnt out. But recently I haven't been feeling that way, because I've really paced myself, and I have been trying to make enough content so that I can take breaks and that I can find my creativity in those breaks. So yeah, I think it's just like setting yourself up so that you don't have to feel overwhelmed. But yeah, there's no really annoying part. Like, I really like what I do. Oh, actually, I figured it out. It's honestly not really about being an S worker. It's about being a mentor. And it's not annoying. It's just really frustrating when people expect you to like solve all their problems. And the thing is like, as a mentor, you want to solve everyone's problems. You really do. But the thing is like, you can't. Like, I can't make you work harder. I can tell you what to do. I can help guide you. I can hold you accountable by saying like, you should do this. Come on, do it. But I can't force you to do anything. So I would say like the most annoying part about that is when someone thinks that I can fix everything for them, and then when they realize I can't, like I literally can't do everything for you, I can just help you, and then people get mad at you. That's probably the most frustrating part about what I do, because I really want to do as much as I possibly can for you, and sometimes I feel like I'm giving everything I possibly have and it's not enough. Like, that part is really, really hard. Okay. Next question is how to gain followers and how to grow on social media. Like I kind of mentioned, it's about building a brand. It's about marketing. It's about how can you entertain or provide education or like something. You need to provide value to your fans. And so whatever your brand is, you need to think about what that value is to the people watching. Because if not, you're not really going to build a brand. Like, there's nothing there if you don't do that. So how to gain a following is think about what somebody wants from you, what somebody wants when they watch content. What do they want from somebody? And the best way to do this is actually just to watch content yourself and see what drags you in. And then find those pieces that makes you entertained or like engaged in this content and say, okay, this person, the way they talk, it really dragged me in. The visuals were beautiful and that kept my attention. The actual content itself was, this sort of aspect of life that I find interesting. So then you take those things and then you do that for yourself. Okay, well, what topics do I want to discuss? What outfits do I want to show? What editing style do I want to use? And piece those things together to make a solid brand for yourself. It's a lot of work. It's not easy. It's not just going to be like, oh, there's this. The thing is, make quality content. Make good content. Make content that somebody is going to want to watch. And if you make something and no one watches it, there's a reason. Look at your content and say, why did this not do well? And I do that with my own content over and over and over again. Why did this piece not do well? You know what? I talked way too long right there about nonsense. You know what? I didn't edit that really well. It looks horrible. You know what? I didn't use a good microphone and you can't really hear me. Or honestly, the content is just not entertaining. It's not good. It's not sharing the best of my knowledge, or it's not sharing the best of my ability. It's not sexy enough or whatever. So think about those types of things and then build a brand around it. Think about yourself as a brand. You need to do research on how to build a brand. And if you can do that, if you can build a brand well, then you have something. It's not just like shake your butt on TikTok and you're gonna gain followers. There's gotta be something to it that makes sense for someone to watch. So how do you gain followers? You build a solid brand that's gonna engage people to your content. There's a lot to think about there. So I might have to do like a whole building a brand video. If you want to see that, let me know. You can't see yourself as just a S worker. You need to see yourself as a brand. Like overall, what do the colors look like? What does the style of editing look like? Like literally, what does everything look like? Anyways, well, like I said, if you want a whole video on that, let me know. Reddit, full nudity or no? How to draw the line on social media. And this question, you also said if you had Reddit. I do have Reddit. I have a whole video about Reddit, so if you want to check that out, you can. Yeah, so there's a few different ways to go about Reddit, and I would watch that whole video if I were you about Reddit. There's a few things just to think about. In the beginning of my Reddit journey, I would only use a certain number of photos across different Reddit forums, and I would only just keep using those. There are some subreddits that you're not allowed to use the same content over and over again, but some you can, so make sure you're reading the rules. Make sure you're also getting approved in all the Reddits or subreddits that you're going to be posting in. But yeah, so I would just use these handful of photos over and over and over again. That way I didn't kind of dip into my basket of content that I wanted to sell on my spicy pages. So that's one way to go about it. Another way is to specifically make content that is for social media and is for Reddit. And you also have to think about your content. Like if you're doing like full BG content, boy girl content, and you're doing, or like even girl content or boy content or whatever, like you're doing content with other people, then you can kind of get pretty spicy on social media because there's still something more for them on your spicy page. If you're doing solo content, then you gotta get less spicy on your social media pages, right? And I think even if you're doing boy girl content or like extreme content, we can call it, I think your social media should still be pretty PG because like I said, you should be building a brand that's outside of this because you want options. Like if you want to work with brands, if you want to do this and that, like you just want to have the options. So personally, I would keep it pretty PG on everywhere else. I think I have one picture on Reddit that shows my body, but everything else is all covered. And same with Twitter. Even Instagram is like super PG, not even PG-13. Like Twitter is PG-13, but Instagram PG, TikTok super PG. Obviously here on YouTube, pretty PG for the most part. Like I'm just, talking. But most of my content is very PG on social media. So I think that that's the best way to go about it so that you can have options for yourself and you're not giving away too much. That's what I think. But think about your own content and your own brand. And if maybe showing more of your body is part of the brand, then go for it. I'm not saying you can't. I would just think about like, what is the most spicy thing you're going to be doing on your spicy pages? And then make sure that that stuff just stays separated from your social medias. But there's no like right way to go about this. Some people post it all. Maybe you do photos, but you don't put the videos on Reddit, or maybe you do GIFs, but they're like, you know, it's only 1 second of a video or whatever. There's so many ways to go about it. Just think, this stuff is only for my spicy pages, and then it needs to get like a little less spicy on the social medias. Hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully that's a good answer for you about Reddit. I personally do not have full nudity on Reddit besides the one photo, I'm pretty sure, and that's how I go about it. Okay, how many followers would you need to get approved to be a spicy creator was a question. And I don't know where you heard that you need to have a certain amount of numbers. You don't need to have any numbers. You can start a page and start today. You don't need to be a creator ahead of time. I do think that it's important to start building a brand, but that doesn't mean that you can't just start. Like, there's no number. You just start thinking about what you want to do, open your pages, start creating, start posting, start getting that page out there, and you should be good. There's no number to start. You don't need a following. And there's also a lot of people that don't even have social media and they just do like Reddit, and they've built a really good solid spicy page from that as well. So you don't need to be like a creator. I think it's easier to be a creator first, but there's not like a certain number that you need. Experience with pay-per-view versus no pay-per-view pages. So I don't have experience with no pay-per-view pages. My pages do have pay-per-view, and it's always been that way for me. So I can't speak on my experience with no pay-per-view, but what I can share with you is actually other people's experiences that I've talked to, because that's part of what I do, is just like my research and talking with other creators and seeing what works for them so that I can share that with you, and then you can put, you know, the pieces together for what makes sense for you and what you want to do. So I have a friend, her name's Erin, and she's here on YouTube, Erin Kitten. Also, her username is Killing Kittens for Money. So Erin is the best, and she actually experimented with no pay-per-view. And then also my friend Anne, who's All Natural Mama here on YouTube as well, they both experimented with no pay-per-view. Anne said that she enjoyed it for a bit, and Erin said that she did not, and she didn't want to do that anymore. So I think if you have no pay-per-view, then you might have a lot of people coming to subscribe, but I think also once they see a lot of your content, then they might unsubscribe because it's all on the wall and they can, you know, see everything all at once. Whereas I think with a pay-per-view option, you're able to charge per video and per person to see that content. And personally for me, that's what I prefer, and that's been working well for me. If you have like a certain type of content that you think would work well one way or the other, then I would experiment and explore that. And what I also would do is I would find people that do both and subscribe to both, and then see what's the best strategy for you, what makes the most sense for the content that you're doing. I think what works really well for no pay-per-view is if you are doing pretty extreme stuff and you're doing it often, then that makes sense. I think if you're doing like solo content, or you're not releasing that much content as far as like long form videos, then maybe it's better to keep those videos under a locked pay-per-view and sending them out like maybe once a week or something like that. It really depends what strategy you want to use. Like I've always said, there's so many different ways to build a business in this industry, and there's not one way. Like if someone tells you this is the only way to do it, like it's not true. There's so many people doing different things, and that's why that's even a question, because some people are making a lot of money one way and other people are making a lot of money the other way. It's up to you, and I would just explore, and I would subscribe to people that are doing similar content to you and seeing what seems to be working best. Number 12 is, should you do collaborations? So if you feel comfortable and if you're being safe, then I think honestly collaborations are the way to go. I think that people love collaborations. People love to see two different creators together and to subscribe to both. And I think there's like plenty of different ways to go about that. Maybe you can split up the video, like you do a 10-minute video together and 5 minutes is on one page, 5 minutes is on the other person's page. There's definitely so many ways to go about collaborations. So I think, yeah, I would go for it if you feel comfortable doing that, and as long as you're being safe and like getting tested and all of that, if you're gonna be doing stuff together, then I would say go for it, because I think that's a really good strategy to put yourself out there. Thoughts on agencies or management or assistants for OF? So for me personally, I enjoy like the interaction with my fans, and I know so many people who have tried agencies and it didn't go well, or they sent out, you know, the wrong content, or I've just known so many horror stories about it, or they take like a really high percentage, all of that. So I would not focus on that for now. I know that like a lot of huge creators do have agencies. So when you get to a certain point, I'm sure it's just too overwhelming and it's better probably to have somebody help you. But I don't think you need to worry about that, especially, you know, even I met this girl at a shoot and she made like her highest month was $70,000. And she did it all by herself. She said that she never worked with an agency, because I asked her, I talked to her about it. I'm like, how did you get to $70,000 in that month? Like, what did you do? Do you work with an agency, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, no, I did it myself. And her niche is like in the Latin world and stuff. And she said that the fans there are like really dedicated and will spend their money. So it's totally possible to do it on your own. As far as assistants that go, I personally do have an assistant, and her name is Katiana, and she's literally amazing and saves my life. And for me, it's personally because one, that my emails, and like since I'm doing so many different messages, like, there's just so much to do, and my business is expanding. Like I mentioned, as you get bigger, like you do need help. And so she's great about reposting my content from like TikTok to Instagram. She's great about doing all my emails. She's great about helping me set up like YouTube videos. So she comes up with video ideas and lists and things like that. She sets up my photo shoots. So as far as like having an assistant, I do think that it's been beneficial for the last like 6 months that we've been working together. It's been really, really helpful. And also for her to keep me accountable, because sometimes I'm like, what was I supposed to do today? And she like does my calendar and everything, and she reminds me if I forgot something. So it's really, really nice to have someone to be there to keep you accountable. As a creator, it's just been really, really helpful. So if you get to that point where your business is growing and you can afford to have an assistant, I would recommend that. Another cool question was actually book recommendations. It could be sex work or unrelated. I love reading, like I kind of mentioned earlier. I love learning, and I think because I'm not in school anymore, reading has now become enjoyable again. And like I said, I've always liked learning. I've always liked being in school, but sometimes if you're reading for school, then you don't want to read for yourself. I love reading books about business. That is because, like I said, I love learning about marketing. I love learning about just how to run a business and so on. So right now I am actually reading Surrounded by Idiots. I've been reading it for way too long at this point, but I'm almost done. I just haven't had a lot of time to read recently. Yeah, I'm reading Surrounded by Idiots. It's really, really good. And it's about just like learning different types of people, and they color coordinate them. So there's like red people, yellow people, green people, and blue. And I'm like, I think it was green and yellow. Yeah, it's green and yellow. I'm a green person mainly. And Daisy's like a red yellow. It's a really cool book to understand different people, and I like to read about psychology, business, marketing. Like those are kind of like my favorite things. Oh, and also spirituality. So anyways, Surrounded by Idiots is a good one. Master storytelling. I think that that's really, really important in any industry, is to like learn how to speak, and storytelling is a huge part about speaking. So love that book as well. And then I think those two are going to be the ones I'm telling you about today. Those ones are good ones. You should check them out. And the last question is easiest way to make money. If I'm being real with you, like there's no easy way. Like, you know, you can make money pretty easily, but if you're thinking scaling a business, like if you're thinking big money, like, yeah, you can probably reach out to a few guys and be like, send me a tip, and you might get $10. Okay. But if you're thinking big and you want a lot of money quickly, the easiest way is going to be a slow way. Like you can make money quickly and easily in big chunks, but it takes a lot of work on the back end to get to that point where it's easy and quick. So if you want easy, quick money, then friendly.com is a great place for you to just start chatting and like make money quickly and easily. And I have a whole video on that. But if you want long, sustainable, big chunks of money quickly, then you need to build a solid brand, like we've been talking about all day in this video. You need to build a solid brand, and it's gonna be a longer process. But when you get to that point where brands wanna pay you big money, or where fans cannot wait to order a custom from you, so they will spend hundreds of dollars, then you need to build a solid brand. And, you know, I just think that's the best way. But if you want quick, easy money, Slushy, Friendly, and Chatterbait are probably going to be the quickest way to make some money fast. All right. Well, with that all being said, that is the last question. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you want to be featured in the next video, make sure you're following me on Instagram, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.